schools or English language schools. Okay, we are gonna talk a little bit about it because I know, um, I've been working with books for quite a long time and I'm in love with them. Okay. I love literature for kids. And I know that sometimes it's really hard for us to choose a book. We don't know how to choose what to do. So we are going to talk about it. Ines saying that is a nice title. I like it. Yeah. Okay, so I will share my presentation with you because, like, a book has many hooks, right? We can use books for many different things, and this is what we will be talking about. Okay, for us teachers, books, our main the big hook here is it's the foundation for all other learning. Through books we can give our imagination, lots of one to work on. Okay, the books are just the starting point. Okay, it promotes imagination and creativity. It inspires kids and us to explore new possibilities. Okay, kids gain understanding of the world, how it works, things that they have never faced and they have never experienced. They have the chance through stories, right? And it stimulates our thoughts and emotions. One book has many hooks. We can use books and literature, to work on different concepts. Yeah, we can promote critical thinking using books. We can promote literacy skills, develop literacy skills. It may be used for entertainment, they learn, we all learn, empathy through stories, that we're working on, and we learn new concepts and theories, okay, through the use of books. But for us, the books play an important role in language development, right? So through literature can be, our maybe, the greatest tool you have when talking about learning English. Yes. So the question here is okay, but what book to choose? How do I choose? How do I work on them? Okay. The first thing we have to do is to encourage reading, any kind of reading, because sometimes what I feel that is that, okay, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me and my, the whole story about it. Yeah, I work with books, I sell books, especially books for kids. And what I see is that many times teachers and parents and carers, they want to work on literature, they want to work on the stories, but they don't know exactly how to do it. Okay, and reading, when you learn to read, and when you are introduced to reading, it's not only when you were at school, right? We start learning about this literacy thing, when we are born. When we give a baby a book, this baby starts learning that there is something there. Okay, when we read a story for a kid, okay, the kid learns many things about literacy. They learn that there is something there communicating the idea. Okay, that those things, images that you see there, they are read in English, from left to right. Okay, they learn that you have to move pages, turn pages, so that you can go on the story. So it's not only when they are learning how to decode, okay, the words, that they are learning to be literate, to read. Okay, they start learning to read much before this. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is to encourage reading since they are very young. Okay, As most of you know, like R&D's educational environment, I decided, like to bring here some ideas, like focus on these, okay? But you can, like think about these, they're like all over in all situations. You may have books in the car for kids, like we can have books in the bathroom, like whatever you are, like that you're gonna stop. Okay, kids are gonna stop for a while. You may have some books around so that they can, like just scan through this, right? So the first thing is that, like having books all around. You can have like in the school, you can have like reading corners, not only a place to go and read the books, okay, but places, like that you can um, promote these that are not only these, like specific for, like reading. You can have like a reading corner at the lounge of the school. You can have a reading corner uh, at the backyard, okay, at the yard. And not only the formal ones, I try to gather here some ideas from the internet, okay? Because sometimes when I talk about these, I talk about, like having books all around. Like many teachers tell me, this is we don't have, like the time for reading. You don't need to develop a reading project where you're going to stop. Okay, although I appreciate that, like, and I do believe it's helpful, but you may have this like books around for entertainment. You're going to be reading, you're going to be curious about those books, okay? So you can either like you can have like a suitcase, because like some teachers say like, I'd like to have it, but I go from room to room, like it's difficult to carry. Why don't you know like have, like a piece of luggage to, like take your books, like from one place to another. This is an idea, okay? Oh, in a school don't have much money, like to buy all those shelves. I'm like, you can store it anywhere, like, so here you have some ideas. I'm like, there are some bags in which you can place them. Even, like those, like boxes, card boxes, you can use them, like as a place to read. And you can collect the books you have in a place where you're going to leave them there. Whenever kids feel like doing it, they will. Okay. Another thing, like that you can do is like leave the books inside the classroom on a corner, on a box, on a shelf, like whatever you want for the fast finishers, like, so, oh, they finish the activity, they can go and grab a book. Okay. And you can also have some inviting things, that would make kids feel like reading, you know, um, because you always have the ones that love reading and the ones that don't give it, like they don't want it. And you can create an environment that kids would feel invited to. I need to go there. I guess I will get that book and try it once, and then you can have like tents, okay, or baskets, or like just bean bags, wherever you have that you could place for them. Okay. um The other thing that you need to do is to grant access to reading. It's not only having the books, because I know, like, and you probably do as well, like many schools that have like great places for reading, okay, but kids cannot go there by themselves, or kids have to schedule some time to visit the library, for example, okay? So you have to do the opposite, like you have to stimulate and grant that they have access. So even if you don't have time to work on literature and to um, like promote a reading project in your room, okay? Let them, like take the books home. Let them take the books when they're going to recess, while they are waiting for the class to start, okay? Grant access to the books. And some ideas on how to grant access are, like you can have, like the reading bags. You can have one bag for each child, and this child can take a book each time home, okay, and then read it and return it to school. This is one idea, okay. The other one is, like working on the book club, having a book club, a special moment that is not during your regular lessons, in which they may go there and have a book reading, like shared reading and discussion, okay, about it. You can also have shared reading, in which you're going to read for kids. And another thing that you may do is like to promote book fairs in your school. Okay, books and toys. Okay, you can contact us, and we organize book fairs for schools. Okay, at no cost, right? And then, okay, you grant access. Another thing that is very important is not only grant and access, okay, but also working on literature in class. So choose a book that everybody's going to read together, work on, okay, and develop some reading projects based on the books they have read, right? Um, these is kind of time consuming, okay, but it is really, really nice. Like they profit a lot from developing projects, right, with kids. Sorry, with books. You may like work on a project in which they have to work together to develop something. You can develop reading projects in which you ask them to read the same book, and then you have discussions in class. Or you may work on projects in which each child will read a different book and introduce and tell this book to the others. They may write reviews about the books they have read, and you can also work on reading logs. I don't know if you have already heard about reading logs. Do you know what it means? Let me see here in the chat. Just write it for me here. No. A reading log is a kind of poster, it's a register that you do, okay, in which you give them, like a range of books, the possibility to read. So you print the covers of the books there, and you create a graph with the name of the students, and then the books they are supposed to read or that they have access, okay. For each book a child reads, they're going to give their opinion about it. If they like, so you can have like a happy face, or like you're gonna create rubrics, like to work on it. But it may be, like happy face and sad face, okay, and a regular one. Okay, so I like it, I didn't like it very much, I didn't like it at all. Okay, so you're gonna have a poster there with this graph, and then like the child will read a book and just like a comment there, like give their opinion there. When we work on reading logs, we usually don't set a number of books. So you have to read these, all of those, or we have to read at least 4. Okay, we let children read, okay, like in their paces, because some children read faster, some children are more fluent in reading, okay, so they have different pace. So you're gonna see that some kids will read all of the books you give them, okay? And some will read, like two or three, and that's okay. Because even if they're not reading a lot, they are developing, they are reading, and they will profit from all the benefits that reading brings, right? Let's move on here. Okay, these are ideas, not like the ones that I shared, to encourage reading. And what about the books in the classroom, okay, that we use? Okay, how do you promote, how do you choose these books that you're going to use in the classroom? Before talking about it, you have to bear in mind that there are many strategies for using books in class. I'll be talking today about two of them, okay? The most common ones that are shared reading and independent reading. Shared reading, okay, is when the teacher reads aloud, okay, for them, or when they read in groups, okay, with a more developed peer than the other, right? So when you were sharing a book, I think this is the most common, like way, especially in English language centers, okay, or in English language lessons in which we are working on, like the language itself. Usually, like the teacher reads, and when they are very young, right? So when we are working on shared reading, what is important to bear in mind? The first things that you have to introduce the book. There are many ways of introducing the book, okay? You may have, for example, the book itself and show them the cover. Look at this picture. What will this book be around about? Okay? Can you read here the title? What can you infer from the title? So you can explore the book itself. You may have, like a story bag with some realia related to the story. Okay, let's say we are going to work on Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So you can have like miniatures of furniture, you can have, like bears. So you're going to introduce vocab, you're going to create the mood for the story. Okay, so this is another way of introducing the story, the book. Okay, there are many ways. After, like you have set the mood, and it's important that when you are working on shared reading, you place everyone in a way that all of them may see the book really well, in a way that you can keep eye contact with all of your students, okay? And in a way that everybody understands that now it's a story time, that something different, something special is going to happen. And when you read, after you introduce, you read the book, you're going to tell them the story, okay? If they are sitting, like in a way that you can keep eye contact, like to them, then you can manage the group better, okay? Because if you work with many students, and like the younger they are, like the harder it is to keep everybody focused, like on the story all the time, you may look at students and, like keep eye contact with them, and they may understand that it's not time for that. Never interrupt a story because one of the students, okay? Because you will have, imagine, like, let's picture, like a situation here. You were teaching a like 4-year-old group, you have 20 students, okay? And these students are, most of them are all, like really curious about the story, like involved with that. But you have one student that is laying down, like in the middle of the circle. Or this student is looking at something else. the fly that is on the sky, If you stop the story to say, Tati, look here, you're not paying attention, you break the magic. Okay. We may use other techniques, in order to call the student's attention. One of them, okay, is changing your voice tone. So you are telling there, and there were three little pigs. If you see that someone is not, paying attention, or that you want to grab, their attention back, you may abruptly change the tone of voice. Little pig, for example. And that kid, oh, what's happening? This is a strategy that you may use, okay? Another strategy that you may use is using the name of the student in the middle of the story, the one that is not paying attention, okay? So, for example, and there were three Tachis. Because when I listen to my name, I like, did you call me? And then I say like, teacher, you said Tachi. Did I sorry, no, it was not like the pigs here. Okay. And then you call them back to the story, right? So, and while you are reading the book, we can move to our number 3. Invite them, to interact with the story that you're telling. So, like, can you see here? What's going to happen next? Let me see. I'm not sure. Any other ideas? And what happened now? Invite them to interact, invite them, ask checking questions to see if they are following the plot of the idea. The plot of the book, of the story. Okay. So always, stop, don't read all at once. Okay. Stop, ask questions, check their understanding, okay, if they're understanding it or not, okay. And after that, you can move to reflection, okay. Reflection and, after reading activities. So you can discuss, what did you learn? What did you like the most? Okay. How did you understand these? Because books are also good for making them understand some, concepts that are hard, okay, that are really abstract for them. So they may also work on that. Let me move on here. Okay. I guess, yeah, sorry. When we talk about independent reading, it's a little different. Independent reading is when a child takes a book to read by itself, by herself or himself, okay? So the things that we have to do, okay, as teachers, are, helping them choose the right level book. Is it good for me? How do I know that if it's too easy or too difficult? Okay. We need to create space and time for reading because, if you want them to read independently, you must promote some, opportunities for them to do it, right? And you may develop a reading culture. Okay. How do you develop reading culture? Reading for them, showing them books. Guys, have you seen that I have new books here? Have you ever heard of this one? Oh, you will love it because he's really messy or whatever, it will depend on the book that you are telling, right? I think one of the most difficult things for us as teachers is to choose the right book, for independent reading. Because when you work on shared reading, you may, help them when you were choosing, to understand, to come up with vocab that they don't know, okay? But, in a classroom, okay, in a group, you have different kids with different reading levels, even if they are on the same, grade, for example, or in the same group, okay? Not all of them follow the same level, okay, of reading. So before we choose a book, you have to think about some things, okay? First of all, we need to understand that reading regularly is paramount. So it's not only one book. If you want them to read, okay, they need to read, like ideally every day. But I know that many of you don't have, like reading time every day. But as a teacher, we need to promote reading, like as much as possible, right? The second thing, you have to get to know about reading levels, because I know that most of you haven't been prepared in university for choosing those books. We don't know much about, like reading levels and like how you develop it. So we need to understand a little bit more about it. And the third thing is that we need to understand that each one, okay, has its own pace. So we cannot, like take it for granted that what works for one will work for all the others. So choosing a book. Imagine, okay, I imagine here that I have a group that has been having lots of like emotional problems. They are too angry, they are not respecting each other, and I want to work on social emotional learning, and I want a story about it. So what I do, I go to a store and then I type social emotional learning. This is what I want my kids to learn about. So I type in here social emotion learning, and I got a list of books. Okay, Tati, but I don't know any of these books. So I'll take a look and click on the one that appeals the most to me. Okay, and then the one that I chose was Wild Feelings because I liked it. Okay, I like the cover. When I open this, when I click on the book, what happens? Like I have the cover. Sometimes I have some extra pages. So here I have pages of the story. And then I have, like the description of the book and some information like ISBN, format, pages, genre, grade, Lexile, guided reading level, DRA level. What is it? Most of times we don't even pay attention to it because it doesn't ring a bell, like it makes no sense for us. We don't know what it stands for and how it would help me choose a book, right? So this is what I'm gonna try to share with you, like what those, like standards, like go for, like, and what do they tell us, okay, about it, about a book. So these, like are the rubrics that you're gonna find, like SIO, ACR, GRD level, right, and DRA. I will go through each one, okay? The one that you usually listen to more is the GR level. That is the guided reading levels, okay? It helps us understand the right level for our kids. These levels, okay, the GR levels, they go from A to Z, being A the most basic one and Z the most developed one, okay? Okay, Tati, but how do they come to these levels? What is taken into account, okay, when we talk about it? When it's not us, it's not me, okay, but like when they create this measure, okay, they took into account the sentence structure, okay, the length. Is the sentence simple or more complex? And not only the length, also the structure. For example, instead of saying like I have never been, like never had I been, okay, those things, okay, the complexity of the sentence. Also, the text layout, the number of pictures. Is it a big picture, short text? Okay. Where is the text written and how is it written? Like when you have those waved, like texts, like, and then you find bubbles, you have text all around, okay? Or sometimes you have a paragraph. So it also takes it into account. And also the vocab. Not only, like the complexity of the vocab, but also word repetition. So, this word here is keyword and it's repeated, like, so this is how we come to these different levels, okay? And the levels go from A to Z. Okay, here you have what a kid that has English as their mother tongue, okay, expectations. So they expect that kids, okay, that are going to kindergarten, they may be able to, like read from A to C. And then first grade, C to I. Second grade, I to M, okay? This guided reading level, okay, uh, was created by Scholastic Book Wizard based on Fountains and Penel levels, okay? And then you have another, okay, standard, another measure, that is the Developmental Reading Assessment, that is DRA, okay, measure. What does it measure, Tat? It measures like reading accuracy, fluency, and comprehension. Okay, it because the other one measures the text itself, and here the comprehension of kids. Okay, when reading a text. Okay, what kind of phonemic awareness? If it has like rhymes, alliteration, segmentation, phonemic awareness, okay, phonetic principle, okay, naming letters, reading a list of words, spelling, decoding, these things, okay, and fluency, oral reading fluency. How many of sentences can I read, okay, and how fast can I read, okay? So, how many words, okay, per minute, okay, in this reading. When we talk about DRA level, okay, kids that have English as their first language, they are supposed, okay, to be among these levels in each of these grades here. And you also have accelerated reader level, that is the AR level, okay? These are set by the reading practice. Okay, it's a software. Students read, okay, a book and they answer, okay, some questions. It's an online test, so that they have feedback on their comprehension of that. Okay, so it encourages students to read independently and at their own pace. Okay. These levels, the points, okay, are based on the difficulty of the book and the length of the book. So it tells you, the AR level tells you like, oh, how many pages can a kid read, okay, per minute. So which one is the most important? And these levels, okay, they are posted, okay, by grade, okay, like this, for kids that have English as their first language. And the last one that I think that it's the one that, like I see like more schools using here in Brazil, is the Lexile measure. The Lexile measure doesn't tell you anything about interests, okay? If it's good, like for that age, okay, in relation to topics, okay, in relation to the story itself. It measures the complexity of the text. This measure goes from 0, that is like really, like beginners, okay, to 1600. And what it tells you, okay, if I take the Lexile test and I do, and my score is, for example, here, 1000, 1000. Okay? It means that if I take one book that has dyslexia 1000, I will understand 75% of this text, right? So this is what they call the target reading. Okay, that is they expect the child to understand this percentage here. Okay, so the lexile measures how difficult a text is to understand. Okay, based on word frequency and sentence length, right? In here, okay, you have what to expect from a kid that has English as their first language. But then, okay, you have some charts that put all these levels together, okay, so that you can have an idea when you are a kindergarten kid, okay, what are you supposed to understand? What is the best book for you? Okay, and then you have for the whole, okay, first 8 years. But how does it help that? Because not like the kids in Brazil, most of them don't have English as their mother tongue. So what do we do? Here in Brazil, what I see schools doing and that I see that it works is when we lower 1 or 2 levels in GR, that is the guided reading level, and Lexile. Okay. So if you see that for kindergarten, let me go back here just to give you an idea. Okay. Here. Okay. If you see that for like the second grader, like the Lexile is this, it's to range, right? But when you take a book, if I go back, let me move up here to my example here. Can you see here? Like the Lexile is AD. It's because it's previously you need, like an adult help, okay? 210. So you lower this according to this. If you go back to that, okay, if you go back to this slide here, you're gonna lower and make, like one step back, one level behind, okay, in this. But this, like works pretty well when we are trying to select a book for our kids to read. But let's take this in, okay, in mind. You have many new books, okay, in your reading corner, it's called, and the kids, teacher, want to read a book. Like, how do you, like, you haven't measured, you don't have like all these details about it, okay? How can we help kids choose a book for independent reading? How can we help them? Because they also don't know, like all those, like measures and numbers, what it stands for and how it helps, okay? What can you do? There is a strategy, okay, that is called the 5-finger rule. Have you ever heard of the 5-finger rule? Write for me here in the chat. Let's see. Nope, didn't get any. Okay. The 5-finger rule is a very easy strategy that you can use with kids, okay? You can ask your kids to choose a book that appeals to them, okay, that they find interesting. They're going to read the first page alone. So they use this strategy. For each word that they don't understand, or for each word that they don't know or can't pronounce, they're going to raise one finger. Okay? If they raise none or just one, this book is too easy for them. If they raise 2 or 3 fingers, okay, this book is just right. And if they raise, like 4 or 5, it's too hard for them. Is it a good technique? Yes and no. Okay. It's easy for children to understand and to apply. It's fast. Okay. And it can be done anywhere. You don't need any help, like you don't need like much time. Okay. It's there. But it simplifies a complex process that is reading. Okay, reading is not only about understanding and pronouncing words. Okay, and vocab is just one of the elements that define, okay, the readability of a book. So it is good, but it's also, it has, like some counterpoints for us to think about. Let's pick this situation here. Okay, you have a boy that knows everything about baseball, and I got these from an article that like I read, and I got the same example, like that is given in the article. And then the other that I'm going to mention later, Kate talks picks this example here, like this guy knows everything. Okay, he knows like all the name of the teams, like all the tools you need, like the stars and the movements and the rules and everything. And then he finds this book here, an encyclopedia of baseball. He takes it and he applies the 5-finger, all the fingers up. And then, okay, what she says is that even if all the things are up, you're not gonna tell this kid, don't read this book, it's not for you, baby, you cannot read that, it's too complex. No, you'll never do it. Okay, because sometimes, like as she says, like your motivation and desire to read a book will reduce its complexity. Okay, you will feel like I need it, and you will probably understand much more, okay, than you would if it were about a topic that you were not interested in. And then, like just to finish, okay, I wanted to tell you that when, like kids come to us, like with the book, we will try to help them, like and guide them in if it's, like nice or not, but you will also encourage them to read no matter what, because, like if it's too difficult for them, they will come to you and say, no, no, it's impossible. No, like it's too difficult for me. I'll have to take another one. So when we choose a book and when we help kids choosing a book, okay, it's very important not to kill, like this reading desire, because sometimes we have all this in mind and you want to help them and you say like, no, this is not, like a proper, this one would be better. But then in a way, like you kind of kill it. So, like you have to promote reading. But when you're going to select a book, like for your like students to read, like for a reading project, then read a little bit more about these, like measures that I shared with you. I'm going to let me just see here. Here, you can see like a bar on top. Okay, I'm going to give you a discount for buying books for kids. Okay. If you want it, just click here and fill in the form, right? And if you want, like help with, like understand these measures and like in choosing books, you can write on the form, Tati, could you help me, please? Could you give me more ideas? I may share these PowerPoint with you, the slides, okay? And I may also share some lists with you. Because since this is my, like research area, I've been developing some, tools for teachers in order to choose this material. So I have suggestions for, oh, I have, like 5-year-old kids, and then I have, suggestions to share with you that you may applying in like, oh, I'd like to have to work on social emotional learning. I can give you some suggestions on books. Okay. Oh, I'd like to teach science through literature. Okay. I want to work on science concepts. And then you can also work on that. Okay. Here, I'd like to thank you. Okay. And you have my email here. I would also ask you, to follow Books and Toys Brazil, in which we publish, like some ideas, like and some books that we have been, like working on and bringing it to you. I will open here now for questions. Let me just change here. Let me see if you have any questions. I guess no questions. Kids books with strong. Yes. Let me see what's her name here. Like Maria Inez. She's saying that she chooses big books with, like strong illustrations, that will appeal with, that teach them important things. As I mentioned before, like books are so important for so many things, like it helps us, develop like many concepts. And it's very important that the book, not only the story, like is nice, but also that the book, like is appealing, the images are nice. Okay. And these things. Luis asked, how can we use technology to help with reading to kids? There are some books and some publishers. I don't know if you have heard of Express Publishing, for example. They have been working on these, and they have been working on bringing books for kids in which the story is also, it's also possible to change the story into an animation with a read aloud, so it helps a lot. Okay, you may use, for example, those games, like gamified, like platforms, like sites like Bamboozle or Word Wall, to work, like to introduce a story with the characters, to work on checking comprehension questions, because they love games, they love technology, like, and it also, like may improve and add something to your lessons, right? Any other question that you have? No? So, guys, I'd like to thank you for sharing, like, and not for sharing, because I was reading here, Sherry, sorry, for coming, like, and joining me, like, if you have any question, like, you may just, like, contact me. Okay. I'll be around. It was a great pleasure to have you here today. Right? Okay. So, bye. It's Friday.